Hi, this is Father Louis Scurti, and as you can see, we are at Our Lady of Victories Church in front of a beautiful statue of St. Jude, very special patron of the parish and of hopeless cases. And I'm here with the pastor of Our Lady of Victories, Father Ben Williams. Ben has been on the show before. We had a wonderful interview with a little bit of the background of the two parishes he's pastoring, and we're going to continue that. I want to talk about the challenges of ministering to two parishes that are so diverse. What is that like?
Well, you have to be very pastoral, you have to be very open, and you have to be very loving. That's number one. You have to be very welcoming. And then because of sometimes there's a language barrier, you have to switch back and forth between English and Spanish all the time at the drop of a hat. Because once again, we have immigrants coming to this country and they don't speak very much English in many cases. So in order to communicate and be pastoral, you have to be fluent in Spanish as well as in English.
And you are.
So, I am. So that was part of the challenge. And then, of course, all Hispanics are not the same. You have to also be willing to be open to learn the ethnicity, to learn the diversity, to learn the cultures. Because we have people from Central America and South America and from Spain. So both parishes have a different mix.
Yes.
You have Peruvians in both parishes, more Peruvians, basically it's almost like 50-50. But we have a bigger Peruvian devotion, Our Lady of Lourdes, and we're trying to build the Peruvian devotion to Our Lord of the Miracles, Nuestro Señor de los Milagros, in Our Lady of Victories. So we have people from the Dominican Republic. We have a lot of Dominicans in Our Lady of Lourdes, some here, but not as many in Our Lady of Victories. We have also people from El Salvador in Our Lady of Lourdes as well. We don't have anyone that I know of that's from El Salvador in Our Lady of Victories. We have Costa Ricans as well.
This is interesting.
So, and of course, for Our Lady of Guadalupe, we have a lot of Mexicans. We have, I would say, more Mexicans in Our Lady of Victories than in Our Lady of Lourdes. So as anybody can see, with all these diverse cultures and backgrounds, and I definitely do not want to forget, we have Puerto Ricans as well in Our Lady of Victories. We have some Puerto Ricans in Our Lady of Lourdes, but not as many. So you can see that the mix is different.
Just keeping all these in your head is amazing.
Well, I have to because I'm the pastor.
You are the good shepherd. That's great.
So I have to, really have my finger on the pulse of both faith communities, and they're very ethnically diverse, and they're different, and the needs are different. So, and obviously you have to go back and forth between the two parishes and tend to both. So that's the challenge.
Does being Catholic unite them all? Because I know, I understand the diversity among different Latin-speaking, Spanish-speaking tongues, but do they come together as a Catholic community?
Yeah, both come together as a Catholic community, but there's a lot of challenges, once again, because you have different devotions in each country. So being Hispanic, it depends on which country and which region of each country. There are differences. So there's different dialects and everything else. There may be a different devotion to a particular saint, or a devotion using a particular image of Our Lady, or a certain image of Jesus, because there's many images of both.
It's interesting because you're in Paterson, and the last century, this whole area, well, many areas in Paterson, different nationalities, but was Italian, and the Italians have that same concept. Depending on what region they came from, their devotions to a particular saint, Our Lady with a particular title. So that's beautiful because it works together eventually to produce great faith.
Yes,
that's wonderful. So you're challenged here to meet all these various needs. Now, hospitals and nursing homes you also minister to, probably in the area.
Well, absolutely, of course. St. Joseph's Hospital, all the nursing homes that are involved. There's a lot of people are ill, and some need to be tended to. Most need to be tended to in their homes. So I put a lot of miles on my car driving all over the place to anoint people who are ill in their homes, hospitals and hospices as well, and nursing homes not really so much. Because once again, when you have more poverty, it tends to be more from the house to the hospital, and then from the hospital, unfortunately, if they're that sick, then you're putting together a funeral.
You said you have the pulse. You really do have the pulse on your community. and you know exactly just what you said is so enlightening, and it's informative. That's and so sensitive to the poor, which is really our main ministry as a church.
Exactly.
That's
but once again, when you're in Paterson's 4th Ward, you have ministry to the poor.
Yes. Where did you come from? Your family. Where'd you grow up?
No, I grew up. I'm a Jersey boy, so I grew up in North Jersey.
Oh,
so
really?
I'm born and raised in New Jersey.
Good. Now we're neighbors. And you became a priest what year?
I became a priest in 2010.
Okay. Now that sounds brand new because it's only 15 now, but you have quite a history before you became a priest. What is that history?
Well, I taught here in Paterson Public Schools. I taught in its academies, and I taught in some of its toughest schools. So, and
You've got shoulders.
And then that's when I got the call to enter the seminary, because I was fully tenured. I'm a mathematics teacher and a teacher of primary or elementary education. So I got the call to come into the seminary to study to be a priest. So that's the position that I left to do this. And then at the same time, I was also finishing up the tail end of my military service in the Air Force.
That's amazing.
So I was able to balance that, being a seminarian, serve and do drills, and do ministry at the same time.
How long were you in military?
I was in the military. I put on a uniform for the first time in 1980, and I retired in 2012.
God bless you. That's great. And with what rank?
I retired as a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force.
That's amazing. You retired because it was enough, or?
No, I was basically maxed out. I could only serve about 9 more months, and they would have said, "You've served long enough."
Oh,
it's time
really?
for you to
Oh,
retire."
that's wild. I could hear some of the construction of the building going on.
Yes, that's our more construction for our boiler and our heating system. Because again, since I've come here, once again, the innards, every aspect, inside, outside, up, down, underneath, had to be reconstructed. And Lourdes was, Our Lady of Lourdes parish was,
That's
the
the second
buildings
parish
was in much worse condition. And we were saddled with a couple of $1 million worth of debt on top of that. So it's been a heavy challenge.
Have you received any grants to work in construction in both churches?
Not grants per se to work in construction. This is off of, thank goodness we have a school tenant that's in Our Lady of Lourdes who helps in that situation to help reduce our debt. And then we have to really fight hard for the collection, and also a lot of fundraisers, constant fundraisers to raise the funds needed to fix everything that's broken. I'm talking about basic stuff, heat, air. Sure. I mean, it's
things that you don't see. People like to give donations for things they see, but who sees the air and the heat and all that?
You'll know in Our Lady of Lourdes, and it's gone out on a couple occasions, and we've completed the conversion from oil to natural gas in Our Lady of Lourdes. Right. So it had to be completely refurbished and redone from top to bottom. I'm talking about radiators with parts from 1926. Okay, so it's amazing that it lasted that long before it gave way.
Yes, right. During your tenure.
Correct.
Because God knew
it broke.
You could raise the funds.
Well, there was a couple of instances where you could see my breath while I was celebrating Mass from the altar. So that's not very good.
No,
I mean, when the heat is off and it gets down to 20 degrees inside the church, it's kind of hard to concentrate.
And that the infrastructure, of course, is affected by that too.
Right.
The whole thing. Ben and I originally met as part of the choir here, right? The gospel choir.
The gospel choir in Our Lady of Victories.
I can't remember how many years ago when you used
close to 20.
Right. You used to come up to William Paterson with the gospel choir on Palm Sunday and a few other times, and that was a wonderful. And I remember, the organist, what's his name?
Deacon Calvin Norris.
Calvin, love Calvin.
Yeah, he passed away in 2001.
Yeah, he was a wonderful person. How long were you involved with the gospel choir?
Since I started here in Our Lady of Victories in the mid-90s.
Wow, and then eventually seminary. Where did you study in the seminary?
Immaculate Conception Seminary, Seton Hall University in South Orange.
That's great. This has been so informative. I'm so glad I'm with you, and maybe we'll take a little tour of the church in our next episode.
That's fine with me.
Be willing to do that? This has been Father Louis Scurti with Father Ben Williams here at Our Lady of Victories, and in a future episode you're going to see the beauty of this church constructed in the 1800s with beautiful, beautiful renovated stained glass windows. Ben, thank you very much for welcoming us, friends of the Word. This has been Father Lou with Father Ben Williams. Let's hear from you. Contact me at fatherlouscurti@hotmail.com. God bless you.